Because the young Kratos is crazy, man. He was on savage mode, man. You wasn't messing with him, bro.
Stop thinking like a father for a moment and start thinking like a general.
You seem like a calm and reasonable person. Are you a calm and reasonable person?
What's good, everybody? It's your boy King Goes, and we're back again to react to another video. Hey yo, today we got God of War Ragnarok, baby. So I am so hyped about this game, bro. I can't wait for it to drop and come out. You know, I want to see what they have planned. I want to see how the storyline is gonna progress so far with Kratos and Atreus. I just want to see what's gonna go down with Ragnarok. But anyway, today we'll be reacting to 10 big characters that could show up in God of War Ragnarok.
Perfect.
Personally, I think we might see Sotor. I might be wrong. I might be saying his name wrong too, but we might see Sotor. We might see, obviously we're gonna see Freya. We're gonna see Thor. You're gonna see Odin, because the new guy Curry put in charge to direct the game. He talked about how Odin is gonna be in the next game when it drops.
Odin is the Allfather of all the realms, so he's going to show up when Ragnarok happens.
What? No! God, please, no! No!
Stop it. Get some help.
And so far, that's just what I think. But anyway, enough talk. Let's just dive straight into it, man. Let go.
And when the bridge opens, the full weight of Asgard will come crashing down on you. It's over.
Is it? So be it.
Now that Sony
Let's
and
go.
Santa Monica Studio have formally unveiled God of War Ragnarok, discussions and theories about what we could see in the upcoming sequel are going to be a dime a dozen. And that goes hand in hand with the hype surrounding any release as major as this one, and of course, it also helps that this series inherently encourages those kinds of discussions, especially with how many mysteries and questions God of War in 2018 raised that fans are hoping will be resolved in its sequel. And one of many questions that we have is, what characters are we going to see in the game? Obviously, the likes of Kratos, Atreus, Freya, Thor, and Odin have been confirmed, but from characters that might potentially return after their appearances,
I have a feeling that bird got a role to
completely
play
new
as
characters
well.
that God of War Ragnarok
They
pull
might
from
do
Norse
something with that
mythology.
bird.
There are quite a few possibilities. Here, that's exactly what we'll be
She
discussing.
got a big role to play too.
Fenrir.
I'm pretty sure.
Ragnarok is going to be a crucial event in this game. Obviously, the marketing buzz phrase for the game isn't Ragnarok isn't coming, is it? Which means that there are a few characters that we haven't seen in this series yet, but we can assume will almost definitely have an important role in the game.
Right.
One of them is obviously Fenrir, the giant wolf that is fated to kill Odin during Ragnarok. Now, given Atreus' affinity to wolves
added
and
another
the
game
fact
to
that
it,
Loki
alright.
is supposed to be Fenrir's father, the last God of War laid it on pretty thick with its setup for Fenrir's inevitable introduction. And of course, with Angerboda, the mother of Fenrir, and Jormungandr having
Right.
been confirmed as a character in God of War Ragnarok, Fenrir's introduction pretty much seems to be locked in. Vidar. After the death of Magni, Modi, and Baldur, the Aesir are going to be coming for Kratos and Atreus with everything they've got.
Right.
And while Thor will of course be leading the charge, the father and son duo will have a fight against other powerful figures as well. One of them may very well be Vidar, the part Aesir, part Jotun son of Odin, but most commonly associated in Norse mythology with vengeance, which Kratos is very familiar with, of course. Vidar is quite
the
an
young
important
Kratos.
figure in the myths as
crazy
well,
one.
since not only is he the one who kills Fenrir after Odin's death, but he's also one of few Aesir figures who survive Ragnarok. Of course, Magni and Modi also survived Ragnarok, and they're very
I
much
have a feeling
dead
he
in the
might
God
not
of
be
War
dead.
universe. So
I might be
you never know
wrong.
what might happen with
Because I know
Dark if he
Atreus
does
stabbed him in the
show up.
neck, but he might not be
Hell.
dead.
Loki and Angerboda have 3 children. One of those, Jorgenmonder, the world's serpent, is already part of the equation in God of War. The second, Fenrir the Wolf, who we just spoke about, is likely going to show up as well. Then there's the third child, their daughter Hel, ruler of Helheim and all the dead.
Yeah, they
Could
never
we
showed her
possibly
that when
see
he went to
Kratos and Atreus
Helheim.
going up against her in God of War Ragnarok? She's basically the Norse mythology equivalent of Hades,
Of Hades,
and
right.
we all know how much God of War used to love Hades at one point.
Oh man,
Of
Hades
course,
was tough,
that doesn't
man.
guarantee Hel a place in the story, but we could definitely see Kratos and Atreus taking another trip to Helheim and facing off against its ruler. Interestingly enough, in actual Norse
If they make
mythology,
that happen,
Hel
that'd be
plays an
tough. That'd be
important role
dope, though,
in
but
the attempted
I
resurrection
don't know.
of Balder after Loki causes his death. There's no telling if that's something Santa Monica Studio will use in their game, but it could certainly be an interesting plot point. Surtur. Much like with Fenrir, it's hard to imagine Surtur not showing up in a major role in God of War Ragnarok.
I think he
The
might
fire
show up.
giant is, of course, a
They might
crucial
show
player in
something about
Ragnarok,
him.
not only because he's heavily involved in the conflict against the Aesir, but also because it's ultimately
And I
his
don't think he's
blazing
gonna be a
sword that
bad
causes the
guy.
end
I
of
might
the
be
world.
wrong.
Given the state of God of War 3 left Greece in, it's a very real possibility that Kratos will leave the Norse realm in ashes, and if that does happen, Surtur may very well be involved in some capacity. Heimdall. Kratos and Atreus are going up against the Aesir and the forces of Asgard in God of War Ragnarok, which means that there are a few characters that are basically guaranteed to show up in the game as bosses. Thor and Odin are 2 of them, of course, but another crucial figure that is bound to show up is Heimdall, the protector of the Bifrost and guardian of Asgard. His enmity with Loki is something that Norse mythology talks about often, what with both of them being destined to kill each other during Ragnarok. Of course, we don't know exactly how Kratos and Atreus' encounter against him is going to go down, but we are quite sure that there will be an encounter. Hrisvelgr. Hrisvelgr, better known as the giant bird in Helheim, is someone we've mentioned quite a few times in our God of War features, and quite recently too. But there's a very good reason for that. For starters, you can't expect to put that imposing figure in God of War game and not have it be a boss fight, or anything other than background art, and not expect people to talk about it. Hrisvelgr was, of course,
at first I thought he was
going to
end up fighting that bird.
God of War 2018, before him being cut out of the game due to time constraints. So we think there's a pretty good chance Santa Monica Studio will find a way to put him in Kratos' crosshairs in its sequel. Sif. We'll be very, very surprised if Sif isn't in God of War Ragnarok. She's the wife of Thor, after all, and an important Aesir figure in Norse mythology. And with Thor being one of God of War Ragnarok's central antagonists, there's a very real chance that Sif too will have a role to play. We know
they might not
that
just show
Kratos
all
and
these
Atreus
gods
will be heading
in
to
one,
Asgard
because
at
I know
some
there's
point
going to be
in
a
the
second
game.
part.
And if they do cross paths with Sif, especially if it's after they've killed Thor, that should be a very interesting meeting. Ura. Speaking of Sif, her son and Thor's stepson, Ura, could also potentially be in the game. In Norse mythology, he's most often associated with archery and hunting, which is something that, funnily enough, you'd associate with Atreus as well. And sure, this is nothing but wild speculation at this point, but maybe we could see a different interpretation of Ura's character in God of War Ragnarok. Perhaps one that sees some friction between him and Thor, which maybe leads him to become an uneasy ally of Kratos and Atreus. Or maybe they could just play it straight and have him fight alongside Sif, if she does show up, that is. After the duo has maybe killed Thor? Either way, he would make an interesting addition to the list of Aesir that Kratos and Atreus have to go through in order to achieve their goals. Skoll and Hati. The two wolves, Skull and Hati, were mentioned in God of War in 2018, so they obviously do exist in this universe, and given how closely they're tied to Ragnarok, it wouldn't be surprising at all to see them in the next game.
I'm pretty sure they're going to be in the
Will
next
they actually
game.
end up swallowing the sun and
they
the moon,
have
though?
to show them, bro, because
God of War has a history of
isn't that
taking
the start of
mythological source
Ragnarok?
material and twisting it in unexpected ways, so that's not guaranteed, but their appearance,
I
at
have
the
a
very
feeling
least,
they might
is still
show 'em.
very likely. Oh, and given the fact that they're Fenrir's children and Loki's grandchildren, it should be interesting to see how they're portrayed in the game, if they're even in it, you know, that is.
They might end up changing
Athena.
that.
This one could go either
They
way.
definitely gonna
Even
show
now, more
Athena.
than
I
3 years
guarantee
after
you,
God of
bro.
War
They
in
gonna show her.
2018's
Just like the
launch,
first game.
there's still fierce
she
debate
just-
over whether
They
Athena's
didn't like
appearance
show
in
her
the
too
game
much.
was
I think they're
actually
gonna do the same
herself,
thing with the second
or
one.
whether she was just a figment of Kratos' imagination. If that was the real Athena, then there's obviously
She's
no
the
way
real
she won't
Athena,
have a role to
I
play
guarantee
in
you.
God of War Ragnarok as well.
She was actually there.
There's just no way the game will leave that important a narrative thread
Right.
unresolved.
Right.
If that wasn't the real Athena, though, well, then the chances of her showing up again for a similar scene are much more slim. And with that, we've reached the end of this video.
Alright.
Have anything?
This game is gonna be great. It's God of War. It's always been great. I've been a fan since it came out in the mobile phone. I played it on my phone growing up. They showed progress over the time of the years, and they're still going up. Kratos has always been that crazy guy. They might show a little bit of old Kratos. I have a feeling they're gonna do that. A little bit of that younger side of Kratos might come out at some point in the game, because the young Kratos is crazy, man. He was on savage mode, man. You wasn't messing with him, bro. He does not give a F about nobody. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Young boy with an east side vibe, throwing up peace signs in the Nissan ride, getting high, taking off, take flight, real scared of these sights. Stay with me all night, we can all get by. Pick one, pick five, take one, take five. I don't give a fuck, shut up and drive.
I just really want your mind. I just really want your mind.